Welcome. I'm Sebastian Mahfood, and you're listening to WCAT Radio, the on-air wing of En Route Books and Media, bringing you the dulcet sounds of Catholic wisdom with Bob Olson, who will now introduce today's show and speaker.
WCAT Radio presents Cry Oneness, a program with Joe Avalos to encourage people to share their experience with God, their miracles, their music, their poetry. Share your life. So here we go again, Joe. How are you?
Hey, Bob. Good to hear you again. You sound much better than last week with your voice. That's great.
Yeah. I got my voice back anyway. Still got a little sniffling.
Yeah, I had a good week, too. My website got a flurry of activity. I was getting like 3 hits an hour.
Wow.
Registered to my website.
Beautiful.
Dr. Sebastian put something on Facebook, and my friend Joey did a lot of marketing. He took a course in WordPress, and I guess a lot of people also heard us talking about going to the website after the show, because it started right after last week's show ended. We were getting like 3 hits an hour for 3 days.
Wow.
That's amazing.
Beautiful.
Right? Thank you all the people that were going to the website. Please keep going there, because there's a lot of good information. But what's not happening yet, people aren't calling in, and people aren't leaving comments on the 3 social medias that we have set up. So if you don't feel like talking on the phone, I understand that, because it's kind of intimidating to be on a radio show live. But if you want to go to the website and click on either Facebook or Twitter or YouTube and just leave us something there if you're afraid to be on the radio show, and let us know how we're doing. We want some feedback from you guys. But it was feedback, just the number of hits we got, and it's really great to know there's people that are enjoying.
Well, what are some of the things they were saying?
Nothing. It's just an indication that they visited the site. I get the email
okay.
who visited, yeah.
Okay, I see.
Broad range of ages and everything. It was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Because we get some demographics from the site, too. So thank you, people, for listening, yeah.
So where are we going tonight, Joe?
Well, I got a locution. I was having some difficulty this week, and I started getting a craving. I had some old cravings come back, and I was sharing at one of my meetings, and a couple of guys saw me after the meeting, and it had to do with wanting to buy something I really couldn't afford. So a couple of guys talked to me after, and they said, you should write about the way you're feeling right now, or do a poem or something on it. And I said, well, maybe something will come to me. So then that night I got home, and I got a locution, and I think it's from the Lord, and there's enough in here to talk about for a whole hour, I think, if we really focus on this locution. So the thing I was going to do was get a whaler boat, and it was over my head, but I was going to do it anyway. And I actually was hoping I could get it financed, and it fell through because I asked God to do what He wanted to do with it. And the whole thing was stressful. For 3 days, I had this craving of what I wanted rather than what I needed, So this came out in a locution. See what you think. And I titled it, Whaler of a Deal, the Sign of Jonah. When you have everything you need, and you can't afford something good you really want, and every bone in your body craves it, and you feel like you'll die if you don't get it, and you obsess on it for days, it's time to go to another level of surrender until you realize that everything you have now is all you ever really wanted, and that in reality that is more than you deserve. For God is generous to a fault with all creatures, and knows their every need. And when we lie naked in His presence, at the complete physical death of self, we truly realize that everything in our life we thought we wanted was in truth an illusion, and everything we didn't know we had is the reality that we could not comprehend. When the end of our life happens, which is really the beginning, the God of our understanding will be there smiling, as He says with a grin, keep coming.
Very good. Boy, that took care of that, didn't it? That took care of that.
Keep out of your own desires. Switch over to my will for you.
Right.
Isn't that amazing?
Yep.
I can't even figure out what half this stuff means, so I know I didn't write it. The Spirit wrote this
to
let me know how far off I was. And when you ask for God's opinion of what you're doing and you're willing to listen, it comes through. So I would love to get some calls on this locution. And do you have the number available, Bob, or should I get it?
Yep. No, it's 515. You want to get a pencil?
You get out
Get a pencil and paper. That's right. 515 604 9344. I'll say it again. 515 604 9344. And the code is 914 121. 121. Okay?
Right.
Call anytime.
If you don't want to share that way, you can go to the website, and there's a space at the bottom of the site to email, and then I'll read your email on the air if you send us something. Or go to the website and share on one of the three social media networks that we have on there, the Twitter icon, or the YouTube icon, or the Facebook icon, and leave your comments there if you don't want to talk on the phone or the radio. Or email. Email the website. Go to cryoneness.org, and you have everything you need there to communicate with us. I have a way of monitoring the emails that come from the site, so do it that way if you don't feel like talking. Right, Bob?
Right.
Then I can repeat the email over the air, and if they want the name used, they put the name there, and if they want to keep their name out of it, don't put it in the body of the text, and I won't announce your name on the show. Okay. I don't know if I shared my Easter song with you. I think I shared it last week, maybe. But this is inspired by the program, you know. This is a locution I got on Easter Sunday. I've already shared this, but I think I want to repeat it as another thing to talk about. And maybe we could focus on trying to figure out what these two locutions mean. Easter song. Awake to live another day, to work and love and play, to stay and go and love and know, if I can simply live each day, that life will surely have its way. I pray today to stay aware and not to dare to drift away, for faith is strong and fear is wrong, and fate has made me write this song. So just dance your way to another day, as hope and love come lead the way. Just give away your gifts each day, and all your troubles will fade away. Each day is a blessing we didn't earn, for God is good and cannot wait until you realize your life is great. If you don't believe this happy song, I pray today you get out of God's way.
Yep. So what do you think that means, you say?
Which part of it?
What you were saying. We should figure out what it means.
Well, it means a lot of things. Awake to live another day. Awake means being conscious, not being unconscious. You know, some people spend their whole life thinking they're conscious and they're really unconscious because they have no God consciousness and they have no real idea of what the truth is. And people live that way all their lives sometime, right through their death, without even realizing they have another choice. So to be conscious is to be awake. Spiritually awake means solely conscious and in contact with your higher power, the God of your understanding. My God of my understanding, we know who that is, Jesus. And it's just so important not to get in the way of your higher power, your God. You've got to get yourself out of the way to let His love come through. And then the next line is to work and love and play. You know, we have to keep seeking God, and that's work. But we also have to love and play. He doesn't want us to have a dull and boring life. He wants us to enjoy our lives. You know, He wants us to love Him, love our neighbors, and He wants us to be playful and enjoy our life. You know, one of the biggest problems with me was before I got awakened, I took myself way too serious and life way too serious, you know. You've got to be kind on yourself and on other people. And then the next line, to stay and go. In my mind, life is like a dance. When you fall down in life, make it a part of your dance. You're not always going to be doing things you want to do, but everything in life is a joy when you get the right attitude. And then, and love and know. I know that the way I know God now, it's impossible not to love God. And then if I can simply live each day, simplicity is so important, to try to keep your mind from getting too complicated and to enjoy the simple things in life, the flowers, the sun, the moon, the natural things that are so abundant that can bring you back to silent peace. Right?
Right.
And that life will surely have its way. Life is just another word for God. God comes to us disguised as our life. So if we're fighting life, we're fighting God. If we just accept life, no matter what's going on, and know that God is doing everything for a reason, and His will is always accomplished, we can have it a lot easier. I struggled in my life. I fought life tooth and nail when I was drinking for over 35 years. I will tell you, it is no fun to fight life. When you're fighting life, you're fighting God. It's a no-win.
What do you mean by, give us an example how you did that.
Every time something came my way that I thought was not right, I put my own spin on it. I always self-justified. That's a terrible spirit to deal with all the time. The spirit of self-justification is a horrible tormentor. There is no justification. We're here to accept everything, not to fight everything. Acceptance is the solution to all our problems. We don't have to do everything that comes into our mind, but we have to accept everything and either let the thought pass or act on it. 90% of the time now I have to let the thought pass. It's a spiritual battle, right, Bob?
Right.
We don't have to fight the thoughts. We have to accept them and decide what we want to do with them and ask and pray and ask for God's help all the time. And not just God's help. We have to talk to other people, like spiritual directors, like you were a help to me, and my sponsor is a help to me. We shouldn't make all of our decisions alone in life. God works through other people, and if we don't listen to other people, we are not listening to God. We have to accept other people. Okay, then the next one is, I pray today to stay aware and not to dare to drift away. We have a saying, self-seeking avails us nothing. Seeking God avails us everything. We should constantly be seeking to get closer to the God of our understanding. Always seeking that instead of ourselves. And when we're seeking ourselves, we're heading for a very bad area of self-centered fear and selfishness. We're not the solution to the universe. God is. And when I was drinking, I thought I was the end-all and the beginning-all. I was the Alpha and the Omega, Nobody could get through me to go to my God, I knew exactly what God wanted all the time. Nobody else did. That's a horrible attitude to have. Everybody is a piece of a gigantic mosaic created by God. And He made us all different so that we could fit together better. And it's work and effort, and the work and effort is called unity. Unity is a spiritual principle that we have to work against all odds to work on becoming one with God and with our fellow brother and sisters. And fate has made me write this song. I don't believe I had anything to do with this. I was sitting here on Easter Sunday, and I said, Lord, do you have any lighthearted thing that I can put down on paper? And this whole poem came out within 3 minutes. I couldn't write it fast enough. As soon as you get out of the way and ask God, you call God fate, you can call God love, you can call Him so many different things. He is everything. He is everything good and nothing evil. So that's how the song came. And then this line, so just dance your way to another day. Once again, when you fall down in life, make it a part of your dance, but a lot of times we have long, long runs of happiness, so long as we're moving in the right direction, which the right direction is always moving one step at a time and taking care of anything God puts in your path with a positive attitude. And so just dance your way to another day as hope and love come lead the way. When you start going in the right direction, putting one foot in front of the other and taking care of what's in front of you that God has put there, hope and love are leading your way, not evil. Evil, the problem is evil's very good at pretending to be God. That's why we need good tools of discernment. That's why we need good spiritual direction and good friends who keep us. We have to stick with the winners in life and stay away from people who are loud and boisterous and take us down. Stick with the winners. Each day is a blessing we did not earn. That's pretty self-explanatory, right?
That's right.
We didn't earn anything we received from God. He does it out of a total love of His creation. This line is gospel, I think. For God is good and cannot wait until you realize that life is great. And switch life for God. For God is good and cannot wait until you realize He is great. Life, God, same thing. If you don't believe this happy song, I pray today, get out of God's way. Get yourself out of God's way, and He will flow love and hope through you to everybody around you. And you won't have an enemy in this world or the next. Correct?
Yes.
I spent 50 years of my life being my own enemy and blaming everybody else for the way I felt. Then He came and got me. Thank God He has eternity to fix us all, right, Bob?
That's right.
But just a word to everybody listening, it's our choice whether we live a miserable life. It's not our choice what life comes to us, but it's our choice how we handle it. If we accept it, I can tell you from my experience in the past 12 years, acceptance has saved me so many times. Even when things start going the wrong way, if I accept what's going on, I have less pain. And pain is a spiritual touchstone we learn too, We need pain just like we need joy. It's all a roller coaster ride. It's all a part of life. And I fought everything. I wanted the sailboat cruise. I didn't want the roller coaster ride. Every time I felt uncomfortable, I took a drink.
Yeah.
Most people enjoy the roller coaster ride, but addicts don't for some reason, They don't like feelings. I love my feelings now. I love myself now. I had to start by loving and forgiving other people. The last part of my current recovery was self-forgiveness. Forgiving of self is sometimes the most difficult in my journey, When you look at everything you did and you don't feel God is powerful enough to forgive you, that's a sin of false pride. And I think that's more dangerous than regular pride. Because if you can't forgive yourself, you transmit everything to the people around you. Your spirit, your negative spirit, is infectious when you don't forgive yourself. It lets the wrong spirit work through you. At least that's the way it was in my case, I repelled people. Now it seems like people are attracted. I just gave a boating safety course this past weekend. And it was,
oh, yeah.
Yeah.
How did that go?
Again, and boy, I love it, huh?
That went good, huh?
With you, I started having a little fear creep back in that morning. I had a nausea, and I was nervous because I didn't think I knew the outline perfectly, and I thought I was going to mess up, and I started having fear come back in again, you know, and I said, well, there's the fear. There's only one thing to do. Walk through it, or it's going to keep coming. So I went, and I set everything up, and somebody was late to open the door and stuff, and I got a little anxious again. And then I put it in God's hands. I said, well, you take care of this, you know. And the guy showed up, and a couple of minutes later, I called my boss and let him know what was going on, and he just made a phone call. It was just somebody running a little late. And the day went great, you know. I prayed that I could get through it and, you know, really teach the way I used to teach again. I asked him to help me, and the whole day was amazing. It was like I was meant to be there, the people were meant to be there, and I still was hard on myself, and I thought I wasn't doing a good job, and after the class, everybody came up and told me how much they loved the course. So
beautiful.
It's just amazing, you know. And I love so much teaching safety, you know, fire safety and boating safety, and what we're doing tonight, spiritual safety. That's probably the most important safety course, right?
Right. I'm just looking at...
I was teaching people to keep your life jacket on.
Oh, yeah.
Keep your life jacket on is a type of life jacket that's impossible to drown with. It's called type 1. And when you're wearing that jacket, it constantly turns your face side up if you're unconscious.
Wow.
Face side up if you're unconscious. So who is our number one life jacket?
Mm-hmm. Jesus.
It turns us right side up all the time, even when we're face down in water, you know, and can't breathe.
Mm-hmm.
He's the breath of life. Can't do anything without our breath, and our breath is the spirit. It's constantly just blowing love into us, right? And I can remember I used to have panic attacks when I was younger. I was even fighting breathing, you know. Even fighting breathing addicts do. They fight their own breath and try to control it. And it's a free gift. So, what's going on in your week? Do you have any good stories?
Well, I was just looking at...
very excited.
I was just looking at... I was just looking at Matthew Kelly's book called Resisting Happiness, where he said, what makes you happy? What makes you happy? Now, you just told me that getting back into that safety course was really made you happy, huh?
Oh, yeah. It's something I've been teaching since age 17. I haven't taught in 8 years since I left the fire department. It was like my whole spirit opened up again once I got back to the spear. I knew that's what I was supposed to do, and I felt the old gifts from the Lord coming right back out, the gift to teach, you know. It was amazing.
Are you going to have more opportunities like that?
Yeah, I'm teaching another course on this Sunday, and probably I'm hoping to get one a week, but it's up to the boss, you know. When he has courses available, he calls me, and he's a very nice guy. Yeah. Him and his father developed this company 17 years ago, and they developed together, and his father passed about the same year my father passed, and now he's doing it on his own, and he's got a lot of instructors working for him, and he goes all over Connecticut and New York, so very nice guy. His name's Greg. Very calm, peaceful, inspiring person, you know.
When we're talking about resisting happiness.
Right. I did that.
Yeah, it says it's time to stop destroying our own happiness. We do it in many ways. Worry about things that you have no control over. Worry destroys happiness. You compare yourself with others in an unhealthy way.
Mm-hmm.
Comparison is the destroyer of happiness. You cling to bad relationships. Bad relationships destroy our happiness. You have a lot of self-doubt or even self-loathing. You had a lot of that, huh, Joe?
Oh, yeah. Everybody in my program does. Yeah.
They are destroyers of happiness. All right, here we go. Do you buy things you can't afford and don't need?
Oof. Almost. But for the grace of God, yeah.
Debt is the destroyer of happiness and a creator of stress.
I needed to hear
Gossip.
that. Yeah.
Gossip, laziness, fear, excuses, negative thinking, ingratitude, and jealousy are all destroyers of happiness. You are on a quest for happiness. Working out what makes you happy is essential, but so is working out what destroys your happiness. In order to do this, in this book, he explores why we all have such an ongoing desire for happiness.
Amazing.
So name some other activities that bring you happiness now. Like you said, that getting back to teaching.
Talking to people. Just strangers even,
Yeah.
Being open to everything.
You had a good time in New Mexico, huh?
Oh, I gave out over 200 of my... I have my poem, the short poem that I give you all the time on the wilderness.
Yeah.
I put that on the back of my business card, and first I would talk to people and just see if they were receptive to hearing anything, and then I would say, would you like to hear a poem, locution that I got? And they would, everybody said yes, and I didn't want to, be abrasive with it, but as soon as I read that to them, they were like in awe. It was amazing, and then they took my cards, and, and then the other thing that happened to me, I was in this class where they had chanting, Christian chanting.
Yeah.
Words, and I sat down with a group of ladies, and we actually felt spiritual vibration passing through our bodies when everybody was chanting, and when you put your hands close to the other person, you could feel the flow going back and forth. And the lady said, "Did you feel that?" And I thought I was crazy, and I said, "Yeah, I did feel that. What was it?" And then we started chanting, and everybody in the circle told me how well I sung, and I thought I stunk when I sung. It's amazing how hard we are on ourselves sometimes, isn't it?
Yes.
And so that really lifted me up. And then when my flight got canceled, and the guy from Albuquerque who hasn't called in yet was thinking about doing it, his wife is sick, I'm at the airport, and I'm just starting to get to the point where I'm almost having a fight with the ticket agent because they asked me to run there and try to get a flight, and it was canceled. It got very confusing, and I got very irritated. And just when I was going to say something negative, the guy I met down there and talked to for 4 hours called me and asked me how I was doing. And I said, I was just about to get into a fight before you called. I'm so glad you called. And, his name is Bud, and he's got 42 years of service. And I said, wow. I said, this is like a miracle. Then he says, I'm going to be right there, and I'm going to give you $200 to pay for the extra night so you don't get into any trouble. And I said, wow. And I had the money. He said, I don't want to hear about it. I'm going to give you that. You helped me so much when we talked for 4 hours, and you shared about the divine mercy, and you shared about your life and your problems with your father, and I shared about with my problems with my son. I left there forgiving my son, and I think you left there forgiving your father again, didn't you? And I said, yes. I said, I'll take the money. And I did. And he's the guy that helps a lot of people down there. He gave away 4 of his properties to house people who have problems with alcohol and drugs. And he's a great guy. And, he's dealing with some bad stuff. His wife's been sick for a while, and he's just such a great...
How did you meet him? How did you meet him? Right out of the blue?
Yeah, kind of out of the blue.
Well, you didn't know him before.
I had anxiety, and I went to a little meeting, and he was there. And he was having problems, and I was having problems, and we sat down together for 4 hours and worked them out.
Wow.
In a nice little cafe with a beautiful garden. It was like being in the Garden of Eden. Genuinely, it was like being in the Garden of Eden. It was like being in paradise by the time we walked out of there. We left everything there and went back to our lives, loving everybody again, and with no anxiety. Wherever 2 or more are gathered in my name, there I am also. And he left, becoming committed to the divine mercy that I told him about. I shared part of my book on the divine mercy, and he had an appointment to see his parish priest, and it wound up being about the divine mercy, and he just called me this past week. telling me what an amazing event he had with the Divine Mercy. He said he had never heard of it before I told him about it, and now he can't do anything but keep praying it all the time. He loves it. And he's got a picture of the Divine Mercy sense and everything else. It's amazing, isn't it?
Too bad you can't get him to call in.
No, and I just sent him a copy of St. Faustina's diary, because then he found out that his wife was doing the same practice since age 7, and he didn't even know about it until I told him about it. In other words, they didn't communicate with each other about it. He found out through me, and then he told his wife about it, and his wife said, I've been doing that since I was a teenager.
Wow.
So, amazing healing, right? The power of talking to other people, even the ones you don't know. You never know what's going to happen. You never know.
That's right.
You never know when God wants to talk through you to another person when you get out of the way. Right?
Right.
And there's always somebody bleeding just as badly as you are that needs your help. And if you don't talk to people, you never meet them if you're not open. Yeah, so what else? Happiness.
Let's get to that other poem.
Which one?
The one that you just came up with lately.
The first one?
When you were going to buy when you wanted to buy the whaler.
Yeah, right. Let me get that back up on my iPhone. Whaler of a deal. Okay, let's analyze this one, right? First of all, the title, Whaler of a Deal. 3 days in the whale, the sign of Jonah. That's what Christ said. There will be no sign except the sign of Jonah. The resurrection he's talking about. That was the sign he was talking about. So, when you have everything you need, this is like him talking to me, because I asked him what I should do. When you have everything you need and you can't afford something good you really want, and every bone in your body craves it, and you feel like you'll die if you don't get it, and you obsess on it for days. I don't know about you, but what does that sound like to me? That sounds like severe temptation, doesn't it?
Yes.
So he says, when you get to that point, it's time to go to another level of surrender, Joe, until you realize that everything you have now is all you really ever wanted. And that in reality, that is more than you deserve, my child. Isn't it? Are you listening, Bob?
Oh, yeah.
How firm he's getting with me because of this?
Right.
I'm going to replace God with I, because this is Jesus talking to me, or the Holy Spirit. For I am generous to a fault with all creatures, and know their every need. And when you lie naked in my presence, at the complete physical death of self, we will truly realize that everything in your life we thought you wanted was in truth an illusion. And everything you didn't know you had is the reality of me. I am the unknown in your life that is more valuable than anything you'll ever have. And you're not going to comprehend that, but you will someday. And when the end of your life happens, which is in reality the beginning of your life, Joe, I will be there smiling and saying with a grin, keep coming, my beloved. I'm not finished with you yet. Powerful.
Al Belowski on Catholic mysticism, the hour at the 6 o'clock hour tonight, before this show, Cry Oneness, was talking about how much we need God. And that's all we need. And you were pointing out. And I was thinking about this friend of mine who had everything. he had a 4.0 when he came out of college. This was a few years ago. He got a great job in the oil fields, working for the oil companies in Texas. And he had a huge home, 2-car garage, 2 cars, a boat, like a whaler or whatever, and a motorcycle. And one day he was meditating, and he said, "Is this all there is?" You know what? There's nothing. And he left the oil business, went back up north, got a job as a financial officer in a church, and started to work for the Lord. Because you can't get enough stuff, Joe.
No, and you know the opposite is true too. He thirsts for us. You know, he died for us.
Right.
He'd do anything for us. He bleeds for us. Even today, his wounds are still open. They're not closed yet, you know. He let Thomas feel his wounds after he came back from the dead.
Mm-hmm.
You know? But we can hide in his wounds. He gives us shelter in his wounds. And when we have wounds, we're just sharing his wounds. When we're ill or sick or not enjoying our life and not wanting to accept it, he's feeling our pain too. It's not we don't suffer without him. We just think we suffer without him. We suffer with him, and he suffers with us. He loves with us, and we love with him. It's just there's no separation unless we let our will do a number on us. We can separate ourselves from anything with our will because he gave us free will, and he'll never revoke that gift of free will.
That's right.
He wants us to love him without any pressure. And all we want to do is put pressure between us and him. It's sad, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
People only knew how much he loves them. That poem I wrote, "Mighty is my love for you. I thirst for you. I died for you. I do it again. Please, don't leave me again, Joe. Please don't leave me." Our God begs us to stay with him. He doesn't want to lose anybody. We want to lose him. We run so fast that he has to run to catch up, but he does run to catch up with us. He'll come and hit us with a 2x4 if he has to. He doesn't want to. He needed one with me. He needs them with some people. He needs to get their attention radically. Some people have to fall down a lot before they ever understand they're falling for a reason. And the reason is love. He loves us enough to pick us up every time we fall down, so long as we turn to him and not ourselves. He certainly proved that to me, but you know, even when he proves something to people, you still have the ability to fall down again because of free will, and all you have to do is get your rear end to confession or talk to your spiritual advisors or whatever your faith determines you should be doing and get back up again. There's a good praise and worship song called Get Back Up Again, right? It's amazing. Get back up again. This is a roller coaster ride. This is not a sailboat cruise. Whether we want it to be or not, doesn't matter. Life's going to happen. God has a plan for us, and it will be executed. We can kick and scream and fight and not enjoy it at all, or we can accept everything and have a very good life. Because he takes very good care of people who turn in his direction. And you know, if you're in pain, you know, some people have serious illnesses and everything. Have you ever seen the smile on people when they're dying, when they found him? I've seen it in my own mother, you know. I've seen a lot of death because I worked in emergency services.
That's beautiful.
Death is just total surrender. If people could see more death, they wouldn't be afraid of it. I had a fear of death. He made sure I witnessed my father die 3 times and my mother die once. Because I told him I'm afraid to ever lose my parents. Never tell God what you're afraid of. He doesn't want you being afraid of anything. He wants you to work hard at accepting everything and loving life no matter what. And then we're going to have eternal life at the end of this one. I remember I talked at my father's funeral. I didn't really believe what my lips were saying because I was too stubborn. I stood up there at St. Bridget's when my father passed, and I said, because I had to talk to everybody from the pulpit, I said, we shouldn't feel bad for Dad because his life has really just begun. And I didn't even know where that came from. I know now. The end is the beginning. And the beginning is the end. He's the Alpha and the Omega. He's in charge of everything, you know. He has been for eternity. He was Jesus on earth, but he's been the Christ since whenever, you know. He's an eternal being. We're eternal spirits, probably in human form. We're all one. There is no separation. And we're one with everything in the universe, with the flowers, with the trees, you know, St. Francis philosophy. I love it, you know, brother, moon, sister, sun. It's just, I feel attracted to everything in life now, you know. I don't want to die, but I'm not afraid of it anymore. Life is good, right? I have that sign on my wall. I'm looking at it right now. I have a sign that says life and good. I have a beautiful sunset. I have a picture of three men that look just like my grandfather and his two friends drinking a chug of wine, you know, Santiago, Chile type of people. I have two poems on my wall that my sponsor gave me, and they're beautiful. One's about attitude, and one's about, have you ever heard the poem called De Serrata? Bob?
De Serrata. I don't think so.
Well, I think I should read these two. How much time do we have?
Okay. Yeah, we got plenty of time.
The first one's on attitude, and it's the keystone of what I believe now. It's keeping positive no matter what. The longer I live, the more I realize the impact of attitude on my life. Attitude to me is more important than facts. It is more important than the past, than education, than money, than circumstances, than failures, than successes. That what other people think or say or do. It's more important than appearance, giftedness, or skill. It will make or break a company, a church, a home. The remarkable thing is, we have a choice every day regarding the attitude we will embrace for that day. We cannot change our past. We cannot change the fact that people will act in a certain way. We cannot change the inevitable. The only thing we can do is play on the one string we have, and that is our attitude. I am convinced that life is 10% what happens to me and 90% how I react to it. And so it is with you. We are in charge of our attitudes, and that's the only thing we can control. Pretty powerful, huh?
That's a good one. Where'd you get that?
My sponsor gave it to me. He gave me both
Wow.
of them. Yeah, about 5 years ago. I have them on my wall. This is beautiful, too. I love this poem. I don't know who wrote it. Oh, it's written by Max Ehrman. This is beautiful. I mean, this almost makes me cry when I read it. It's so true, you know. Go placidly amid the noise and the haste, and remember what peace there may be in silence. As far as possible, without surrender, be on good terms with all persons. Speak your truth quietly and clearly, and listen to others, even the dull and ignorant. They too have their story. Avoid loud and aggressive persons. They are vexations to the spirit. If you compare yourself with others, you may become vain or bitter, for always will there be greater and lesser persons than yourself. Enjoy your achievements as well as your plans. Keep interested in your own career, however humble. It is a real possession in the changing fortunes of time. Exercise caution in your business affairs, for the world is full of trickery. But let this not blind you to what virtue there is. Many persons strive for high ideals, and everywhere life is full of heroism. Be yourself. Especially do not feign affection. Neither be cynical about love, for in the face of all aridity and disenchantment, it is as perennial as grass. Take kindly the counsel of the years, gracefully surrendering to the things of youth. Nurture strength of spirit to shield you in sudden misfortune, but do not distress yourself with dark imaginings. Many fears are born of fatigue and loneliness. Beyond a wholesome discipline, be gentle with yourself. You are a child of the universe, no less than the trees and the stars. You have a right to be here, and whether or not it is clear to you, no doubt the universe is unfolding as it should. Therefore, be at peace with God, whatever you conceive Him to be. And whatever your labors and aspirations in the noisy confusion of life, keep peace in your soul. With all its sham, drudgery, and broken dreams, it is still a beautiful world. Be cheerful and strive to be happy.
Hang on a minute, Phil.
Okay, man.
I have a phone here. I was thinking of a Tom Merton prayer that Thomas Merton.
Oh, yeah, I read him in 2007.
See if I can find it again now.
Seven-Story Mountain and Thomas Merton poetry?
Yep.
Is it one of his poems?
No, it's a... well, I guess you might call it a poem.
Do you know that book you're talking about?
Oh, he says, what? Which one?
Matthew Kelly?
Yes, Resisting Happiness.
Yeah. Do you know that when I went to Easter Mass in St. John's Basilica, they were giving that book out for free? Somebody donated about 1,000 of them to the parish.
Well, I think Matthew Kelly has done that himself.
Oh, really? So he donated
yeah,
to the parish. Oh, nice.
Yeah,
they just
been
said
donating. I don't know.
They didn't say who donated it. They said somebody donated the books, and they were giving them out for free. They had them all over the church for Easter Sunday.
I think, I don't know how he does it, but there's been a lot of his books around churches and that are free. The Pilgrim's Prayer by Thomas Merton. My Lord God, I have no idea where I'm going. I do not see the road ahead of me. I cannot know for certain where it will end, nor do I really know myself. And the fact that I think I'm following your will does not mean that I am actually doing so. But I believe that the desire to please you does in fact please you. And I hope I have done that, and I hope I have that desire in all that I'm doing. I hope that I will never do anything apart from that desire, and I know that if I do this, you will lead me by the right road, though I may know nothing about it. Therefore will I trust you always, though I may seem lost and in the shadow of death. I will not fear, for you are ever with me, and you will never leave me to face my perils alone.
So true, but so hard to believe when things get going tough. Yeah.
The line I like is, the fact that I think I'm following your will does not mean that I'm actually doing so. But I believe that the desire to please you, in fact, does please you.
That's powerful, because that's really just the desire is all he needs, you know. He knows if we just are willing, he'll come, you know. If we're willing to have him, we just have to be willing and desire it. And he's all in, you know.
The Bible invites us over and over again not to be gloomy, not to lose ourselves in thoughts about worst-case scenarios, but to trust in God and fill our hearts and minds with positive thoughts. And here are a few examples. These are all scriptures now. Mm-hmm. Some of these are my very favorite. This is the day the Lord has made. Let us be glad and rejoice. Psalm 118. Whatever is true, whatever is honorable, whatever is just, whatever is pure, whatever is pleasing, whatever is commendable, if there is any excellence, if there is anything worthy of praise, think about those things. From Philippians 4:8. Whatever you ask for in prayer with faith, you will receive. Matthew 21:22.
Mm-hmm.
I know the plans I have for you, says the Lord, plans for your welfare, not for harm, to give you a future full of hope. Jeremiah 29:11. Be transformed by the renewal of your mind. Romans 12:2. Do not be anxious about anything. From Philippians 4:6. I can do all things through him who strengthens me. Philippians 4:13. Put away from you all bitterness and wrath and anger and wrangling and slander, together with all malice, and be kind to one another. Ephesians 4:31 and 32. Ask and you will receive. Search and you will knock. No, search and you will find. Knock and the door will be open for you. Matthew 7:7. Ask and you will receive. Search and you will find. Knock and the door will be open for you.
Mm-hmm.
So we can confidently say, the Lord is my helper. I will not fear. What can man do to me? Hebrews 13:5.
Very good.
Some good scriptures, huh?
Yeah. Something similar from my favorite saint, one of my favorite female saints, I think. St. Faustine is one of them, and St. Teresa is the other. And they're like two opposite spectrums. One's really agape love, and the other one's imperfect. One tried real hard to be perfect, and the other one tried a life of imperfection. But they all both accomplished the same goals, you know. So St. Teresa said in the last 2 days are almost in line with what we're talking about in this little book. I have The Little Way for every day, Thoughts from Teresa of Lisieux. There's one for every day of the year, and I've been reading them in the morning. I want to read today's and tomorrow's because I think they're right along what we're talking to. Oh my God, I wish to console you for the ingratitude of wicked men, and I beg you to take away from me the liberty to displease you. So she's begging God to keep her out of the way. And then the 27th tomorrow. Oh my beloved, I offer myself to you, that you may perfectly accomplish in me your holy designs, and I will not allow anything created to be an obstacle in their path. And boy, you know, some days there's some obstacles in the path by created things. She had such a simple life of imperfection, you know. It's just awesome just to read some of the stuff. That story of a soul slayed me when I read it, you know. And that was after I had gotten that miracle in San Diego when I started researching St. Teresa, and I just, like, fell in love with her. She's so present in my life, it's unbelievable. I have her statue on my, right above my desk, near my television, where I watch, you know, Richard Rohr and stuff, and I have her picture on the table here. And I think it's so powerful when you ask for the intercession of the saints for people who need healing. It really happens, you know. So many miracles I've seen. When you pray for things for other people, it's more powerful than their own prayers for themselves, right? My main prayer now is, thy will for them be done, Lord. Because if I pray for God's will to be done for somebody I know is sick, it's better than asking for particulars, because he knows exactly what a soul needs, and I don't. So my main prayer is, thy will, not mine, be done. I say that quite a few times every day, especially when I start heading in the wrong direction. So there's so many tools, you know. that he gives us once we turn around and ask him for them. You have to ask, though. He doesn't give you anything.
That's right.
Yeah. That's just what you were saying. Asking you will receive, right? Prayers will be answered.
Right. I'm looking for a certain prayer, but I don't know if I'm going to find it or not.
I'm asking for something to wrap things up with from him, so I'm looking at the whole list of stuff here and seeing if I can just scroll to something that he wants read. I was looking at this before.
Let's see. I don't think I'm going to find it. Beautiful prayer from in Matthew Kelly's book. I read it one day at the nursing home, and a fellow came up to me and said, "Can I get a copy of that?" Because it was something that really touched him in the prayer.
Here's one I really like. It's called Whispers of Twilight. In the silence of the evening mist arises hope of everlasting joy. As the evening precedes the dawn, so the Master dispenses time. Everlasting whispers connect precious breaths of life. His mercy is forever blossoming in those who reject their own desires, procreating humble humans with divine love for their brothers and sisters, sons and daughters of mercy defending all that is of God, always waiting for the dawn, listening to the whispers of time, one heart, one mind, one love for all mankind, bathed in the rays of the sun's everlasting salvation and love. Cry oneness. His blood has reversed all sin. Believe and be saved. He is, and we are.
Well, we're coming near the end. We have about 3 minutes.
Here's some instructions on regaining peace. Regaining peace is the eternal journey from the head to the heart. It's the inner quest for the inner quiet, the immortal diamond buried deep within the suffering soul. The reality that lives within the line awakens only after free will is surrendered voluntarily. Then ever so gently, the light begins to overcome the darkness by revealing layer after layer of the old self until it is imprisoned, and then the sun is released and begins to shine brightly through us again. Then peace finally is resurrected within us. We become as dust in the wind.
Well, I think that's it, Joe.
Dust in the wind offers no resistance. If
Right.
we offer no resistance, we become more and more of him each day.
So it was good having you with us again tonight. And we'll be back again next week. Same time, same station. Wish I could find that prayer.
And please visit cryoneness.org and give us some more comments on what you think of the show and the website. And WCAT Radio, there's a link to go to WCAT Radio and listen to all the old shows. There's got to be like a dozen of them now. You can listen to the prior shows that you haven't heard by going to the website and clicking on the yellow bird icon for WCAT Radio to see all the past shows. And if you need an application, your friend wants an application to listen to the show, that's where you can send them. It's easiest to download from the website.
Okay, so we'll be back next week, same time, same station. So in the meantime, may God bless each and every one of you in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Amen.
Okay, Joe. Thank you.
God bless, Bob. Have a good week.
We hope you enjoyed the program and will join us back for another show on WCAT Radio. This is Sebastian Mahfood. Good day.